Dee-di-do-dum, hum-ba-dee-lie-dum-ba-dee-di-do-dum, hum-ba-dee-lie-dum-ba-dee-di-do-dum, hum-ba-dee-lie-dum-ba-dee-di-dee-dum-do. Where are we today, boys and girls? Hello? Is there anybody there? Oh no! Oh my goodness me! What have we got here?
A werewolf.
A werewolf, right. Where are we today, actually?
Alloa Tower.
Alloa Tower, you say? Now, why are we at Alloa Tower?
Because it seems like a particularly big and spooky castle.
It's a very big, spooky castle, but there's a very famous story about here that's quite suitable for Halloween, isn't there?
Something about the 17th Earl of Mar?
Something about the 17th Earl of Mar, yes, William. The curse of the Earl of Alloa Tower, sorry. So, will we read out the curse, will we?
Yeah.
Proud chief of Mar, thou shalt rule and destroy, and thy work shall be after thy name. Thy work shall be cursed, and shall never be finished. Then, when thou seemest to be highest, when thy power is mightiest, then shall come thy fall. Low shall be thy head amongst the noblest of the people. Deep shall be thy moans amongst the children of Dule. Thy land shall be given unto the stranger, and thy title shall lie among the dead. Thou proud head and daggered hand must dree thy weird until horses be stabled in thy hall, and a weaver shall throw his shuttle in thy chamber of state. Now, what do you think that might mean, boys and girls? That something bad may befall the Earls of Mar, mightn't it?
Yeah.
Eh? So, who do you think would have said something like that? Who do you think would have cursed them in the first place?
A preacher?
You think it might have been a preacher?
Yeah.
And why do you think that, William?
Because in the earlier parts of the century, they were very common.
Well, they were very powerful, weren't they?
Yeah.
And the king might have tried to unseat some power, mightn't he?
Yeah.
Right, so that was the curse of Alloa Tower. Now, we're just going to have a wee look at the sign here. So what we'll do is we'll just take a wee walk round. So we've got Alloa Tower, we've got Lime Tree Walk, we've got the Academy, and we've got Broad Street. So let's just go this way. So that was the curse of Alloa Tower, supposedly placed upon John Erskine, the 17th Earl of Mar, by the fiery abbot of Cambus, Kenneth Abbey.
Hey, Dad, is Abbot mean preacher? No.
Yes, an abbot. So that's just the name for the preacher, the minister, what we would call it these days over this way.
Oh.
Now, in the ruins of Mar's Wark. Now, Erskine's townhouse looms over Stirling's Broad Street. So we just looked at a sign there for Broad Street, didn't we?
Yeah.
But that's not Broad Street in Stirling, that's Broad Street in Alloa. So over in Stirling, the Wark's wide facade once stood 3 stories high. Its walls proudly displaying the coat of arms of Mar and his countess, courtiers, mermaids, gargoyles, mythological creatures. Now, on that wall there's some writing, isn't there? And what it says is, Trator Tim Revelt over Crim. So, traitor time, reveal our crime. So, already we kind of hear that there's a bit of a story going on here, can't we?
Has someone done something?
Has someone done something? Take your mask off so we can hear you. So you think someone's done something, do you?
Yeah, something that's not very nice.
Something that's not very nice. You can tell just by the words that it's something pretty serious,
Perhaps
can't you?
ruining the king's
Something.
family line?
There you go. Something dangerous enough to ruin the family. There you go.
Is it an Earl of Mar?
Oh, well, let's find out. So, those few words we just said there have been cited as proof of murder. Not just murder, but infanticide and possibly regicide too. Now, this is getting pretty scary. If local legends are to be believed, Mar and the work itself, we are told, were cursed as a punishment for the crimes of the wicked and ambitious Earl. So I think just what you were saying might be right, William. This sounds like a man who was being accused of doing lots of bad things for his own game, weren't they?
Yeah. Wait, do they think that means he's an expansionist because he wants to have more and more?
An expansionist, yes, that might well be right.
Just
Now,
like King Edward I.
really, just like him.
We were doing some stuff about him in social subjects.
Oh, wonderful. Now look at the sign up here. What other places do you see mentioned on this sign, William?
Lime Tree Walk.
So we've got that Stirling, and what's the one below that?
Cambus.
Cambus. And where was the abbot? Where did he live? Cambus, Kenneth Abbey.
Oh.
So these places around here are all interlinked, aren't they?
Yeah.
And this wee road that we just came down might just easily have been the road that the kings and queens took to go to Stirling Castle. What do you think about that?
A lot more taken after because, you know, looked after.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Because it's important because kings and queens will walk down here once every few weeks.
Yes, they would, aye, that's right. They could do anyway.
Yeah.
Now, Erskine was a rather unlikely villain. In 1542, he had personally escorted the young Mary Queen of Scots during the rampage of Henry VIII's rough wooing. Now, what do you think a rough wooing might be?
Having 6 wives?
Well, yeah, so there you go. He had lots of wives, so before he got a wife, he would have to woo them. I think that's what it means anyway. So, does it sound like Mary Queen of Scots wanted to be his wife?
Definitely not.
Doesn't sound very much like that, does it?
Yeah, a 12-year-old marrying a 40-year-old doesn't sound the best.
No, it does not, does it? Right, let's just walk around this. We'll go on this path. It's a little bit muddy, but we'll go this way. We'll see how we get on. So, loyally carrying his earldom in 1562, along with the guardianship of the Queen's heir, the young Prince James, the year following her return. Mary's abdication in 1567 increased his influence, and in 1571 he became regent. So the Earl of Mar has come quite far in quite a short space of time, hasn't he?
And he's been trying to hide his...
So he's been entrusted with looking after the heirs. He's been entrusted with Mary Queen of Scots' wee boy James, and has been made regent in his place as he would have been a child. So regent would have mean that basically this guy was the king, wasn't he?
Yeah, but the problem is he didn't realise that it was an expansionist.
Well, this is where we go. So maybe some people thought he was getting a little bit too much power. What do you think?
Well, power can go to your head really easily.
It certainly can, can't it?
I see why.
So he was the third to bear that burden during the boy's infancy. What do you think happened to the first 2 guardians?
Well, I think the first one was assassinated.
You think the first...
Not very good at it.
Well, you're right. The first one was assassinated.
I was reading it. I was reading a bit of it, and see what it said. The second one was accidentally shot by his own men.
Was he?
Yeah.
Well, you're correct, son. You're meant to let me do all this stuff instead of you telling me all the history.
I know.
But that's really good. So, the first being assassinated and the second being shot by his own men. All the local gossips says that this was all a show. The received wisdom is that that the Protestant Erskine commanded the destruction of Cambus Kenneth Abbey. So here again we have the fight between the Christian religions in the middle of all this as well, don't we? Yeah. Fighting between each other to see who is going to have supremacy.
Well, to be
now,
honest, the Catholics are... sorry.
And took its stones to build himself a palace. So, not only we were talking about him being an expansionist, he was brave enough to go and dismantle the abbey and supposedly take it to build his own house.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think the abbot would have had to say to that? To his house getting wrecked and taken away. What do you think he would have said to that?
Hey, I think it's time to curse you.
Oh, I think you're right. So, the homeless and vengeful abbot is said to have appeared at Mar's baronial seat, Alloa Tower, and damned the destiny of the noble house. The curse seems very accurate, as the work was never finished. So wait a minute, so is this curse actually coming true? Is that what they're trying to tell
It's
us?
a bit hard to think about that because basically the Earl of Mar is kind of like a political kind of thing.
Yeah. It served as a barracks and a stable in the 17th century. The opening line, "Thou shalt be raised still higher until thou sitteth in the place of the king," might refer to Mar's elevated status from guardian to regent, or could refer to Mary's heir dying or being murdered and being replaced with a bairn of Erskine's blood. Wait a minute, what just happened there? Did I miss something? So we've went from a curse and somebody no being very happy with the abbot, and then the abbot no being happy with him. Now we're hearing about
Murders.
murdered children and people being replaced. Is this for real?
Gladly was wrong with John Erskine anymore.
That is, Mar literally sat in place of the king. James VI was no Stuart, but a Mar changeling. So they're saying that he replaced the child king with a child of his own, a changeling child. Can you believe that?
Didn't they catch on to that?
Well, obviously the people of the area seem to think they've cottoned on to it, haven't they? Many older inhabitants of the borough swear blind that the skeleton of a baby king, James himself, was unearthed in the ruin within their own lifetimes of their parents and grandparents, and that its weeping can be heard in the dead of night. A weaver shall throw his shuttle in thy chamber of state. This is a reference not just to the 18th century house, but to Bobbing John, a descendant of Mar, because of his changing political allegiances, bobbed to and fro between the Hanoverian and Jacobite sides, and cost the Jacobites the battle of the 1715 battle of Sheriff Muir. So my goodness me, there's quite a lot to take in here, isn't there?
Yeah.
Now, his lands, as the abbot prophesied, were given unto a stranger, and his titles were revoked. What does revoked mean?
Taken away.
Taken away. And the first mention of the curse of Alloa Tower was made the following year. How amazing is that? The Works ruinous state that is down, what's that? Oh right, sorry, was a folly of the later Jacobites. In 1746, when Bonnie Prince Charlie foolishly set up cannons on the roof of the workhouse, only to be blasted by the castle guns. The commonly known ancient curse is actually an exercise in political spin or intrigue. So basically what they're saying is the curse was sort of made up to sort of put a different spin on what had actually happened. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I like curses. I know they're most likely not real, but it makes sense.
Well, what they've done is they've made it fit the history quite well, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've made the curse go in line with what people thought, and basically put a story on it that people would find easy to believe, haven't they?
Yeah.
So what we've done is we've just taken a wee walk down from Alloa Tower, had a wee blether about the curse, and then come down to St John's Church. Now, this church is a lot newer, but the other one just over the wall here, what we looked through the fence at, oh look, we can see the tower of it, is the old tower. And I think that's where many of the Mar family are buried. just in there. Well, we go back round and have a wee look before we say cheerio.
Yeah.
Come on then. Let's see if we can see it so you get a good view. Look at that. So that would have been the church that all the people we're talking about went to. What do you think of that? Look at it. I'd love to go inside of there and have a wee look. What do you think?
Yeah. And to be honest, I wonder, you have to be a very important person to be buried anywhere near a church.
Oh, well, no, I think everyone gets buried in the churchyard, but certainly that one has the older one that has all the family of the Mars.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, if you get buried in the older church, you're a very important person because it's pretty unlucky. It's pretty, or not. I don't mean to say that. I just mean it's like pretty rare because most of the older churches don't bury anyone there anymore.
Well, yes, that's why the graveyards get full, and then they have to make another one, don't they? Look, you can just see how grand that building once was, can't you? Well, we just have a wee look through the wee fence up here again.
Imagine if you go up without even a hard hat making repairs in that.
I know.
Not even with like wooden crooked ladders.
Yeah.
Getting people for like a shilling.
Hi. Right, let's have one last wee peek through before we say cheerio.
Gives a spooky end to it, doesn't it?
A spooky ending. Oh, I'm not getting a very good picture there. Oh, there we go. There we go, that's better. There we go. Right, well, we say goodbye, boys and girls.
Bye.